So, what happens in the early part of the journey, we listen, we do the practice, and there is a willpower. So, willpower in the mind cannot change the mind completely if we do not do the practice regular. So, normally the word upasana is used here, and in all mostly the literatures explain the upasana is one kind of meditation on one god image in the form. But great masters like my master and other masters, Swami Dayananda, Saraswati, who recently left his body, Chenmayananda, they say that you continue the upasana or meditation regularly. So what happens, what the willpower cannot do, upasana will do. You wake up in the morning and the mind says, okay, I will do the practice after an hour. Willpower is gone. Oh, no, no, I'm busy today, so I will do it later. But when I'm doing the practice regularly, the mind changes completely and the mind is attracted to it. And that mind does not want to leave the practice on a single day. So, because it does not want to leave the practice on a single day, so many masters say the upasana is meant for bringing the focus, the inward focus of the mind that will help us our contemplation and reflection. This is the entire way the masters explain this upasana. Another way to understand this upasana is all about, but it should not be misunderstood. They say that we want the distractions of the mind should be gone. We need a tremendous focus so that our listening and learning from a teacher should help the mind to recognize and remove the ignorance. So, why I said that we should not misunderstand when we use the word focus. Focus, in modern psychology, we say the specific word we use, there is an oscillation of attention. Means the attention is distracted at different places. And they use the opposite of oscillation of attention as a concentration. So the moment we think of a concentration, we means that we have to do an extremely self effort to reach to that state of focus. Do you need to focus on where you are? You need not to focus. But still you are focused that you are at your home. You are listening to me. We want that kind of a natural focus because in that state of the natural focus, the mind is not concerned about what comes to the mind and not. You are aware that you are at your home. You are aware that you are listening to. So how it comes? It comes because your mind has become inward moving. Another example, we can say that when we are driving the car, we have to look into the rear mirror, front lane, right lane, left lane, and then we drive home. We enter into our house, and then all the distractions are gone. So we don't say that I'm focused on the my house, but distractions are gone. Why the distractions are gone? Because the mind is now naturally withdrawn with it. What will happen? What is the good indication? You don't leave the practice, you continue without break. Now the practice lasts for an hour. Your mind says, no, today I will do for 2 hours. I'm absorbed. That interest, that commitment of the mind comes from within you. When we commit from outside, that is willpower. Oh, no, no, I will practice for 2 hours. And after half an hour, mind says, now I will tell you how you can practice. There is no way. I'll disturb you. I'll bring in a lot of the thoughts. The mind cannot be controlled like this. Mind need not to be controlled. Mind need to be understood. The way it the way it is moving, we move the mind in a natural way inside. So in Upasana, last time we did the practice. So in Upasana, either we can bring the mind back to the infinite, all-pervading one consciousness, or we can use an object or any image, followed by with using the mantra. Mantra is the main focus. We can use the mantra. So we have to understand also this mantra now. You are a higher seeker, so it is very important. Yeah, silent. Throughout the day, when we wake up in the morning until we sleep, mind, because of its habit, changes the thought in the mind. Thought about personal life, thought about the body, thought about the mind, thought about the honey, thought about professions. Millions of the thoughts comes and goes. Mind does not want to rest. By default, this mind says, no, I will remain. Oh, let us do this. If we have nothing to do, we say, let us take a cup of tea. Mind is always engaged in the object, situation, event, relationship pertaining to the world outside. So in Upasana, we are changing that pattern of the mind. How? Two ways are possible. One is by will. We normally fail. One by the regular practice and commitment. You see, that is very important to understand. So now comes the question, once we have understood this, then what to do? Many thoughts are coming to the mind. We replace all those thoughts by one mantra, maybe Om Namah Shivaya, Shanto. Pick up any mantra. So by that mantra, we are becoming stronger, powerful at the mental and the emotional level. So that we don't need a will. Mind is already powerful. Whenever it demands, it can do it. I was sitting in meditation, almost, I said, oh, this is 6. But mind says, no, why don't you spend another hour? Because when the mind is saying you don't need a willpower, it is always ready to do it. So that is one of the best results of the Upasana. It reduces and minimizes the number of thoughts pertaining to the world. Without any fear, oh, I have to think about it, this project. No, it will continue. It continues. You need not to worry about it. Pure consciousness is the real self. Pure consciousness plus Maya is the Ishwar. We say the inner self. Because the consciousness to work in the material world, it needs something to act in the world. So it associates with the delusion, ignorance, Maya. It is known as the inner self. Difference between the inner self and the individual self. We all are acting as an individual. This individual self lives always in ignorance, and that inner self always lives in knowledge. It knows because it is the cosmic mind. It is the all the minds together, all the bodies together. Why I brought up this topic in Upasana, we tap that inner self. So the limitations of the mind that causes the stress, anxiety, reaction, and duality, they do not live in the mind. That is the beauty of the Upasana. Can we also get the things done? Answer is yes. But that takes us to another journey. But if I have a burning problem, can I throw the problem there? Yes, you can. The more and more you throw that problem into that meditation, what is going to happen? The mind stops thinking too much about it. And gradually you have a revelation, you get the answer. Or the things will be done. So one side of the Upasana is known as Sakam Upasana. Sakam means with a particular desire to achieve in the material world. Yes, it is possible. But the seeker in the journey of the spirituality, they do not. If there is a desire, let there be a desire for the outer world, and you throw the problem into the inner self. That's all. You feel as if the inner self, as if your individual mind is not able to solve the problem, so you find the best solution. Out of the emotion, you do it one day, second day, third day, and after you'll find after a few days, your mind does not think about the problem, and then what happens? The solution of that problem is revealed. That is another benefit of the Upasana. Third benefit, that you never feel tired. We have to continue this Om Namah Shivaya. I will also add one more, not step, but to make you understand clearly. Then that sense of hesitation and the reaction gradually and progressively stops, replaced by the calmness. Ultimate goal is the same. We need to purify the mind. We need to remove the distraction. It should become an inward moving mind. When the inward moving mind is present, that is the right state of the mind to do the Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyas. But on the other side, we also get other benefits: regularity, commitment, sincerity, sense of kindness. So we now avoid any sense of conflict at the mental level, at the thought level. We don't engage into these discussions, because any discussion in which we engage ourselves causes the reaction, will pull us far away from the journey of the self-discovery. So it has nothing to do with the morality, and it is more to do with the state of the mind that reflects what is right. So the mind, by the practice of the Upasana, becomes very calm. Instead of millions of thoughts, you have only one thought. Say, for example, of the Shiva. You are going to work, and you, through the infinite consciousness, you say, oh, I'm totally insignificant, not even a dust particle in the presence of that infinite consciousness, and that is the Shiva. So let the Shiva is going to work and will work for my professional life. So you are always calm. What that means? Another meaning. Another meaning is that we uh, if I say so, false I depends on the material world, situation, relationship to get the things done to be in peace and happiness. So even in the midst of all the activities you are doing, your mind now depends more and more on the Shiva. Even just by thinking, just feeling an emotion, just a point. You wake up in the morning, thank you, Shiva, I'm grateful. And just check. Wherever the mind goes into the infinite consciousness, that's good. Just say to yourself, you see that how insignificant you are in the presence of the infinite consciousness. Yes, you want to see the image of the Shiva, that too is good. Visualize that Shiva is 1000 times bigger than you, in front of you. 1000 times bigger than you, it means my forehead and the big toe of the Shiva is almost of equal size. Why we do it? We do it because we want to get rid of the problem of wandering mind, which is almost engaged every day, every time, every moment. When it has nothing to think, it always thinks about the world. So we are not saying that you stop doing, stop working in the material world. We are replacing. Shiva is doing everything. Shiva, are you doing everything? Yes. I know that I'm going to the office, but let the Shiva, you take over the world. When we are eating, Kabir used to say, Kabir was a great mystic and a great master. He, he had many followers, many seekers, and he was a son of a weaver. In fact, he was not a son of the weaver. That weaver family living at the bank of a river, one day in the morning they saw a boy in a basket was at the bank of the river. Somebody has something wrong and they have left the child. That child was the Kabir. So because he was adopted by their so-called the step weaver family. The weaver family was Muslim, so that's why we say he is also a Muslim. But he broke down all the barriers of the religion. He became a great master. There is a tradition in India that Varanasi, you might have read, Varanasi or Banaras is known as the oldest city in the world. It dates back 5,000 years. It is known as the abode of Shiva. And it is also said that those who die in the Banaras, they directly go to heaven. He lived, Kabir lived in Banaras, he taught everyone in the Banaras, but at the time of the death, he left Banaras. He said, no, I have to break this superstition. Majority of his poems and his teachings is based on the Upasana. He said, you simply do the Upasana, contemplation, reflection, and nididhyasan, means Shravanam, listening and learning, reflection, and practice will automatically happen. And he proved in his life. When he reached to that state, he used to weave the cloth. He used to go in the late evening to sell the cloth, and 50% of the money he used to buy the cotton. The rest 50% he used to buy all the food items, and then he, his wife, and his son. His son was also a great master. We'll talk about that later. And they used to cook the food. And all the seekers used to come to him, and they used to dance and sit in meditation. So one seeker asked that I have never seen you practicing meditation. You talk about meditation, you talk about devotion, you talk about devotion to the Shiva and the Krishna, but I have never seen you. There is no image, there is no picture. So he started laughing. So he said, "Did you see me? I'm sleeping." "Yes." "Lying down on the bed?" "Yes." "That is my prostration. I bow down to the Shiva. That is my sleep." Your mind is totally saturated. It has no other thought except the Shiva. So, do you see me eating? Yes. So, I'm not eating. It is the Shiva that is eating through me. How do you do that? I remember that. So, the false I has no place to be there in all my activities. That is the main thing. That is the main aspect, that emotionally and mentally I say, oh, I have already recognized as such there is no false I. But still the action is happening. Let it be happen for the sake of the Shiva. Such a wonderful way of. So first we are doing the Upasana, we are doing the practices regularly, daily. And the time comes when the Shiva takes over my mind. That should happen in Upasana. So on one side we are also already doing Shravanam, Manan and Nididhyasana. On the other side we are focused, we are committed, we never leave this practice. So Kabir further said, when you are eating, you think, you feel that you are eating, but I see my Krishna and Shiva are eating. Do you think that I offer the food to you? No, I offer the food. Because all the costs, all the minds together, all the body is together. That is what the inner self is. Individual self, that I am separated from the entire world. Inner self, it is already present. That cosmic mind with the inner self is already present in us, and that is why we say Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundai Viche. All the mantras. Doesn't matter whether you are picking up any image of the God or the Master or Krishna or the Shiva or the Durga, doesn't matter. What matters? My mind is inward moving. My mind is centered either in the Shiva, whether it is formless or with a form, that does not matter. That is the highest teaching. That is the highest teaching. That is the essence of the Upasana. You wake up in the morning and your mind is there naturally focused on, say for example, the Shiva. Either formless Shiva, the formless Shiva with all the five elements, the entire world is what is represented, this body, and this body is insignificant as compared to the entire world outside. Oh, that is the Shiva. Or even the image of the Shiva. When we get married, so first 6 months, the mind creates an image about the honey because of our physical attachment. Ramakrishna used to say, you have the way mind has an intense desire for sexual satisfaction. So instead of attachment to your honey outside, now you are attached to the Shiva with the same intensity. It is not for physical gratification because you have already placed the Shiva or the God at the highest pedal. So the mind, instead of moving into the sensuality, it moves into the true love, emotional essence of emotional freedom. I don't remember exactly. He said, intense the way you have in the the bhokta, or how you translate, the way the person is deeply attached for a sexual gratification. Another guy who has a tremendous intensity towards the wealth, and there is third also. So he says that if you use the infatuation, three desires of the mind that is going outside for the sake of any image of the God and the mantra, Upasana succeeds. But again, it remembers what happens. Remember again, I'm differentiating between the two. Willpower is one thing, regular practice with commitment is another thing. Willpower can fail because the mind is not ready. And it happens. Now, today I will not do it. Yesterday, I was in the evening, I lied down and I said, I feel tired. I said, okay, but you have to do this. Mind reminded me. I started doing. So, willpower has nothing to do it because mind is now ready. So, the mind is ready, you move spontaneously into that state. Normally, I lie down the bed around 10:30 and I said, no, let me do it while in just 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours, at around 12. Then I said, now is the time to sleep. So sleep for Shiva. You don't forget it. You forget only because the mind is outward moving. Mind is engaged. And where the mind is engaged? Mind is always engaged where you have worries. One thing, and where you are attached. Only two parts. That is the nature of the false eye. False eye looks at the rosy picture of this activity, this work, but behind that rosy activity and the result, expectation of that result, the opposite feeling is always there. If I cannot achieve. And in those moments when we replace our mind, when we replace all those thoughts with the Shiva, because in the inner self, which is known as the formless God, contains everything, contains all the knowledge. So instead of I am performing the activity, I have handed over, let us take my life, what I am, what I have, what I possess. Instead, then what happens? The mind is clear. So normally many masters says, and I recognized it, I experienced it, that inner self takes over my individual mind and solves the problem. It is not affected either by the pain or the pleasure or the duality. That is another benefit of the Upasana. In a traditional way, we have many long mantras. So, in a very traditional way, these mantras are repeated every day. They are long mantras. It takes maybe about 15 to 20 minutes. That is the meaning of offering the prayer. There is another way to do the Upasana that you start using the mala, 108 beads, Om Namah Shivaya, and you never leave this practice. That is another. So when you are doing the practice of meditation which I gave you and your mind says, no, I can also do it with a bead, do it. You already have a bead. Now let me do it today like this. Let me do it. Let me do it. You'll find a tremendous change in our mental attitude, that emotional dependence reduced, emotional freedom comes. Upasana has a great power. Upasana means nearness. I'm sitting near. That is another meaning of the Upasana. I'm sitting very near, very close to that formless God or the God with the form. So when Kabir was celebrating and offering the food, he said that I always find the nearness because I'm offering. So what is the main element in the Upasana is offering. So false I says I'm the biggest guy now. This guy who says that I have 5 homes, one ex-wife, one is current wife, maybe in the future he may have the third one. It is the journey of the false ego. But he has changed, He said, no, he doesn't talk about it. How do I said, what the heck, you have left and then why you are talking? No, I was expecting that at least she should say, my ex-wife should say, that she is still attached to me. So he's waiting for that. Then why you have left? This is the journey of the individual mind. And when we do the upasana, the cosmic mind, that inner self enters into our mind. It expands. That is why I said we do it. You said it a little bit difficult to visualize it. It is just a formless. Let us see if it happens. It will happen. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. We'll directly go into that state instead of preparing for itself today. The eyes are closed. Find out the most comfortable position of the body. So you're sitting and being comfortable and you are aware of the thoughts, influx of the thoughts in the mind. Thoughts are coming and going. Being comfortable and being carefree, I would say the two important steps. You can say the preparatory step, so that the mind is ready to go for being carefree. Unwanted and unwelcome thoughts are entering into your mind. You're watching it. Remember, the moment you say you are observing, you are watching, these thoughts are coming and going, you are already a knower and observer of those thoughts. That is the lane 2, which I normally refer as the intellect with an I. And the lane 1, unwanted thoughts and feelings are there. Let it be there. And the lane number 2 is the intellect. So when the lane 2 drops all the identification from the lane 1, that gives rise to calmness and the peace. Any thought, any feeling, any sensation. And we wait for some time. That will help us to understand if the mind is definitely going inside or looking inside. We are not forcing, there is no question of willpower. We are not even doing the breathing today. We look inside the forehead in the space. So I said looking into the space and move your mind in the space in all the directions. That's another way to help the mind. Move the mind looking inside the forehead in front. And there is no end of that space in the front. It bypasses the walls in the houses, in the room, etc. Everywhere there is a space. Move the mind on the right side into the space and see that it is stretches to the infinity. There is no end. Move the mind on the left side. The space stretches to the infinity on the top of your head and the down inside the earth. You just move the mind all around and see that infinity, total emptiness. And there may be a thoughts are there, but behind that thought you are aware of that infinity. There is no limit. It is a limitless space in the consciousness. We normally say it is the Ishwar, it is the innermost self. It is the innermost self. And there we use the mantra. So, Om Namah Shivaya. So you are recognizing that Shiva is the infinite. There is no end to it. Another feeling, real self, pure consciousness, Namah. I am nothing. That is means I am not in front of that infinite space consciousness. Maybe I'm thousand million times smaller. We are hitting a blow to our false eye. Om Om Namah Shivaya. We give a natural pause and interval between the Om and the Namah, Namah and the Shivaya, and also then again the Shivaya and the Om. Om. So you see, we are aware of the expansion of the mind because we stretch it to the infinity. We are also saying that that is an infinite entity, formless. In presence of that, I'm just nothing. Or another way of doing it, what I am, what I have, what I possess belongs to the Shiva, the formless. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Om Namah Shivaya. Yes, the mind may be wandering sometime it missed maintaining an awareness of the infinite space, sometime the mind goes somewhere else and we forget to offer what I am, what I have, and what I